Hello you lovely lot, my name is T and welcome to another episode of Looking at Literature. Today I'm going to be talking about the role of the heroine in Victorian literature. I'm entertaining this kind of idea in reference to my dissertation, which I'm starting to think about as it's kind of due this time next year. That's really daunting. Of course, in this video there will be spoilers about novels, so just beware. The thought first came into my head for this video while I was working on my essay due for my fin de siècle course, but I knew that I wanted to go into more detail and start from nearer the beginning of the Victorian age, so this will hopefully just be the first of a few videos on this topic. Victorian era was a prominent time for feminist theory and for female writers especially. Jane Austen, the Brontes, George Eliot, just to name a few of the most prolific female writers of the era, all had an influence on their fellow women, and society in its turn had its own influence on the way women perceived themselves and were perceived by men. The sphere of the domestic was being challenged by men as they entertained what John Tosh names the flight of the domestic. If you're interested in the evolution of the Victorian male, something that helps to be interested in when you're looking at the female, then I would definitely recommend Tosh's book Man's Place, as it clearly highlights the changes in the domestic sphere and the relationship between family members, and it's just a really interesting read. I'll put a link to it in the description below. The men rejecting domestic influence for longer periods of time, sparking the popularity of the role of the dandy, a figure I want to look at in another video. Women are also learning to fight as a unit and strive for more rights. Of course, everyone knows about the suffragettes who fought for women's rights at the turn of the century, but throughout the 19th century, women have been influenced by their favourite heroines in literature. Middle-class women weren't often educated until the mid to late 19th century, and until then they needed to find ways to entertain themselves. Because of women's proclivity to read, a surge of novels was suddenly aimed at women and, aside from the infamous railway novels that came about in the latter part of the century, novels were generally written for the entertainment of women. It wasn't until the era of the railway novel that decadence became a popular genre and sensationalism and adventure novels became more geared towards men. Until then, it was the time of romance for the women. Of course, romance novels brought about romance heroines. One of my favourites to look at is Jane Eyre. Jane knows her place as a governess and represses her love for her master, Rochester. She behaves in an appropriate manner for a mid-century young lady and attempts to separate herself from the potential of a scandal in a relationship. However, due to the genre of the novel, of course, Rochester returns her love and there is the potential for a happily ever after scenario. When she is put into a situation which would affect her social reputation, Jane runs away, acting nobly in a way that protects and preserves her fragile womanhood instead of staying with the man she loves. This act of selfless sacrifice is a trait of the Victorian romance heroine, and Jane Eyre is potentially one of the most famous of the lot. She sacrifices herself and her happiness to preserve her purity and her modesty, and rebuffs another proposal of marriage because she cannot love the suitor. Whilst it may seem a little backwards, this is a sign of the early feminism in the Victorian heroine. Jane takes control of her situation at multiple points in the novel and won't allow the men who she comes into contact with to define her. Even when she is offered a chance to travel and further herself as a missionary's wife, she rejects the idea simply because she knows it will not make her happy. It isn't until she is in a position to return to the man she loves that she eventually resigns herself to domestic servitude. Jane Eyre is only one novel regarding the Victorian heroine, and I definitely intend to make more videos about this topic as I say, I am seriously considering this idea for my dissertation. Thank you for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe so you don't miss any others. Until next time, cheerio!